Hey guys, welcome to the Money Mix podcast number 16. Thank you guys for joining us again. And Al, that's Stan. Take it away, Stan.
All right, guys. So we have some exciting or not so exciting news, depending on where you stand. FedNow has been taken online, and a lot of people think that the reason why it came
Wait,
on.
wait, wait, wait. Before you go on, can you explain what FedNow is? Because I'm assuming most
Yeah,
people don't actually know what that is.
yeah, yeah. FedNow is a new banking software system where it kind of like replaces instant receive and send by other companies like PayPal, Venmo, and others that have a similar service where you don't need to settle the funds. It'll be directly deposited into your bank account instantaneously 24/7, 7 days a week, which is really, really innovative and crazy for the banking system to be able to do that because it hasn't done it for over 100 years. So the reason why people are very excited is because they believe that it somehow is connected to XRP being deemed not a security. So a lot of people think that FedNow and XRP are working together. What do you think about that, Al?
Um, I could see some of the confusion there, I guess, that because I think one of the promises that cryptocurrency brought was instantaneous transactions, so where you could send money quickly from one place to another. And by the way, anyone who's ever sent a wire out from one bank to another knows how annoying that could be, and the fact that it still takes a day to do that, whereas this would make wires obsolete, at least in most cases, where you could transfer money quickly um, and instantly. Um, so at this point, I could see the confusion, but I like if you even look a little bit into it, it doesn't make sense. But I mean, you know more about crypto than I do. Do you think that this is a boon for crypto? Or do you think this is like a hit for crypto? Do you think this is like something that will actually have a negative effect for crypto?
No, 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 because I think people get this very confused. They think that just because, the Fed has launched a system where it can instantaneously transfer money, that it somehow takes away from cryptocurrency. But the thing is, what they lack knowledge of or understanding is that we're talking about dollars, okay? We're not talking about gold or silver or any other type of cryptocurrency that you're transmitting. You're still transmitting dollars. And people somehow get hung up on the fact that, well, it's the same thing, man. Well, no, it's not because it's still central, right? The Fed is central and the banks are connected to the Fed. So therefore, you're gonna have to use your existing bank account to use the service, and therefore it's central, right? And the fact that inflation is continuously creeping up, you can't compare the two. Bitcoin is Bitcoin, and U.S. dollar is U.S. dollar, and I think that's where people got confused. I don't know if you like understand what I just explained, or if you're also a little bit confused.
No, I know, no, I understand it.
Yeah.
I I never actually like looked at it as a crypto thing. I actually thought like the only thing I could see it affecting crypto is some. I remember some cryptocurrency, and I don't remember which ones they were. Promised that, hey, by the way, the reason you want to use this crypto is because this crypto is going to make transferring things from one bank to another going to make it instantaneous. I do remember that. I don't remember which coin promised that. That's maybe the only thing that might be affected if that coin even still exists. But aside from that, no,
Oh.
I didn't think that. I do think that this is a, for consumers at least, I think that this is a big benefit. Um,
For
of
it
course,
now. For it now.
security, sure, but security is a concern because I don't know how good this is going to be, and I don't know what kind of safety net there is. So, meaning, what if somebody's trying to clean out your bank account? Would there be a safety net so that if the money
Well,
is transferred, are you protected, or is this going
I'm
to be kind of
assuming,
like a
or well, look, I'm assuming that everything else stays the same, right? Because you're using a bank, right? So Chase signed up for it. Bank of America signed up for it. By the way, guys, this is voluntary. It's bank to bank. Banks don't actually have to opt in for this particular service. So if your bank doesn't have it, then you won't be able to use it. And here's another interesting thing: the transaction fee to send this particular to send funds through this particular service is only 4.5 cents, which is ridiculously low. And wires, how much do wires cost, Al?
they used to be in the $30 range, but they might be in the 40s now.
Exactly. So you're saving quite a bit of money per
And
transaction.
time and hassle. The
Right.
wires are not fun.
Right. Because like for example, if you were to send a wire and you wanted to test out to make sure that the receiver actually received the funds, and then you can, send the rest, right? Because you want to be able to test it in cryptocurrency. You don't just send funds, right? You want to make sure that you send a small amount to make sure that the receiver receives it, and then you send the rest. That's just usually common practice. Well, you couldn't do that necessarily through wiring because it was expensive. $40 is expensive. Well, now you can use FedNow and you can make a test transaction for only 4.5 cents. So in that sense, it's tremendous for the users, right? What do you think, Al?
Again, I feel like I think the issue comes in, and again, I haven't heard anything, and I'm not sure if you know this, but what is the safety net? Meaning, what if somebody does, like, people's accounts get hacked, and right now, if you wanted to, let's say, go into a Citibank account and transfer all the funds out, there are certain safety nets to protect you, and they would. It's honestly like a really difficult thing to do. But this, if somebody could very easily transfer a quarter or half of the funds that you have in your account, I'm curious what
Mhm.
the safety net is. If somebody does that, are you protected, or is it kind of, well, now
Right.
you have to prove it, and you have to try to somehow prove that you didn't do the thing you didn't do? And I'm curious how that would work. And
Okay.
do you
Well,
know this, or
no, no, no. I
you
don't
don't?
know
Okay.
this. I'm just assuming that it will work the same way as if you were sending money through the traditional way. Like, what would happen if, for example, somebody hacked into your account and they, sent out a wire? Would that user customer would be protected? You know?
Not as much protection as you might think, actually.
No.
For wires, that's the thing. The reason why I said wires are so complicated is because they require a lot of information. So this, like a wire, isn't just like, hey, I just need the account and the amount to transfer. You need a lot of information about the bank you're transferring it to, and you have to get clearance from the bank. And the thing is, in a lot of banks, it's still done manually. Even if it's online, there's still somebody actually manually that oversees the transaction.
Right.
So because of that, there is like a second level of authenticity. This sounds like it's going to be instantaneous, the same way as if I want to Venmo you $5, I could do that and you'll get it right now. But if I decide to, whatever they're going to call this transfer service, but if I decide to, transfer you $100,000, and it's instantaneous, and you know, there's nothing protecting me, I don't know how. And again, I'm just making an assumption here that they at least have thought about this, and there probably is some kind of protection. But
Yeah.
at this
Yeah.
point, I wouldn't want to use anything like this until I know for sure
Well,
that I'm protected from it.
I mean, okay, you've used Zelle before, have you?
I think so. Yes.
Okay. Well, the thing is, before sending funds, Zelle actually, notifies you that, listen, if you send it to this person, then it's final, right? There's no
Mhm.
retribution, nothing we can do about it, So, it could be the same way. with FedNow. But since it's actually, the Federal Reserve who's in charge of the system, I'm almost assuming that there will be restitution if a bad player gets a hold of your account and starts making large transfers. That's what I would assume.
I would assume that too, but
Yeah.
like assumptions are, I can only go certain, like for so long.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, as long as they're covering you, I think it's a great service. I think it's going to be beneficial to people to be able to transfer things quickly. I
Yeah.
do remember issues when you couldn't transfer things on the day you wanted. Uh, writing
Right.
checks,
Right.
writing checks would go away pretty quickly because I mean a lot of times now people that use checks they use it just to give money to somebody. If I could just send you that money instead with like a note saying, "Hey, this is for so and so," that is so much quicker. The person doesn't have to go to the bank specifically for this. They could just, oh, cool, I got the money. Thanks a lot. Bye. You know,
Right.
I
Right.
think it's a great thing. It's just how it's going to be implemented. And usually, unfortunately, with most new services, it's usually a shit show. It's usually like, hey, we thought it's going to be great, but sorry, we didn't realize that all of these customers are going to be affected in negative ways. So
Right.
I
Right.
would just hold my breath, make sure that you know, you know, wait. Basically, don't be the guinea pig. Let other people figure it out, and then go back into it and see if everything's cool, start using it. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Okay. Well, here's an interesting question. And that is, let's say you have Chase. Chase already opted in for this particular service. Like you as an individual customer, are you also already? Do you have to opt in, or is it automatic? Like that's a question that I would like to find out.
Right.
And the other question is I have for you: what happens to services like PayPal and Venmo and Zelle? You know what I mean? Because look, this is instant and it's almost free and it's 24/7. And there's one more thing that I'm missing as I'm making the list. There's one more thing that none of those services. Oh, and the limit as of right now is $100,000.
Hmm.
Do you see what I'm saying? Because I don't know what the limit is for Venmo, but for Zelle, it's very low. It's like
Yeah.
$1,000. So it's not, or at least for me, it's $1,000. So I mean, I don't know how these services survive.
Right. I think these services that you mentioned, they're usually meant for small transactions. They're not meant to make large payments. They're not meant to do anything like that. It's kind of like it's supposed to be like you go out with your friends, uh, you go to eat somewhere, and then like, oh well, hey, I got $30 worth of food. You pay for it. I'll send you Venmo $30. That's really what it's supposed to be for. It's not really meant to be like here's by the way, here's $50,000. For
But okay, but
fixing the roof or something.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, okay, for example, how much is Venmo charging per transaction? You know,
I don't know. I
yeah,
don't.
I'm
Again,
assuming
again,
they charge.
again. Sure, but I don't think that's even the issue. The thing is if if you have this service that's instantaneous and it's backed by the institution that you're in, like meaning if you have Chase and it's backed by Chase, you're going to be using that instead of a third party software. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean? It's kind of like, why would I go through you when I could do the same thing through them? And like you mentioned, it's probably even less expensive. So, I mean, this might be, if this is instituted where like most of the major institutions start using it, you say goodbye to Venmo and things like
yeah.
that because why would anybody use it? Really, I would struggle to come up with anything.
I mean, the only reason why you would use, well, maybe they have some type of recourse. Maybe that's what it is. Meaning, like, if it's business to business, and like if you had really bad service, or let's say you bought a product and it didn't meet your standards, blah blah blah, and maybe that's the reason why you would use it, like PayPal. But I think people will come to realize that probably dealing with PayPal and Venmo is not easy to get your money back. So maybe at that point, people are like, oh, forget it. I'll just use FedNow. You know what I mean? Because it's just, the transaction fees are ridiculously low. So
Yeah,
what do you?
I just feel like, yeah, no, I just feel like in every way, this would be a better bet. This would be the easier choice. Again, it's if all this stuff works, there's security and a safety net. If all of those things are there, I don't see any of the services that you said lasting when it compares to something that's actually from the institution itself. It's
Right.
faster, cheaper, and it's like it does the same service as these guys. So why would you ever use anything else?
Right. So
So
so so the question is like, I don't know where you stand from your perspective. Would you use Fed now or would you use cryptocurrency?
I feel like they're mutually exclusive. I mean, at least at the moment, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'm asking from your perspective, like, where would you rather? Fine, let me make the question a little bit more clear. Where
Uh-huh.
would you rather hold your money and use at the same time? Would you rather hold your money in a bank and use FedNow, or would you rather hold it on a particular cryptocurrency wallet and use that wallet to transact? I mean,
Um,
if things were,
yeah, I
yeah,
mean, the
you know,
thing, yeah, I mean, to answer that question, I mean, it's at the moment with all the stuff, unfortunately, that has happened with the cryptocurrency exchanges, with the uncertainties, with what is it, FCC or the FTC? I forget which one is going after them, but
as
like with all the FCC, like I'm just kind of like I would be more comfortable personally, and I understand. Well, not not agree with this, but right now, yeah, I would absolutely think that it would be a financial institution, just because they haven't been as much attacked. I would say, and yeah.
no, but what I'm saying is, if there was a perfect world where both,
Oh, okay.
no, I mean, like, if you can use both to make payments, right, and they were equivalent, which one would you rather use? Would you rather use the traditional system or the cryptocurrency system? That's pretty much what I'm asking. Because in the traditional system, you could get hacked. In the cryptocurrency system, very unlikely. Let's just put it that way. So,
Right. I okay. My only thing about the traditional system that I like more is actually the reason you just brought up. The reason why I would say I would use the traditional system in that case is because there's a chance that somebody could, let's say, hack you. And like you said, there's a much smaller chance of you being hacked with crypto, or potentially smaller chance if you're smart enough to protect yourself. But the problem is that you're less protected though with crypto. There's
yeah,
really no one protecting you. You're kind of on your own. If
yes,
something goes down or you lose your code or whatever the case is, you're kind of shit, like you just basically don't have any recourse.
yeah.
With banking, usually people are comfortable that they know that they're going to get their money back. They know that if somebody hacks in, they're most likely going to be able to get their money back. The only thing, it might take a little bit more time, maybe in certain situations, but overall they're going to get their money back. So yeah, I would
So,
still say traditional
right.
until cryptocurrency actually starts having some safety nets, which I don't think that we're close to. But until that, I feel like it's still going to be traditional.
Right. So I think that the winners right now are obviously the Federal Reserve, by bringing out this particular software and allowing people to transact instantaneously. I think that will attract a lot of the new banks and
Right.
customers of those banks who will want to utilize this service because it's dirt cheap. It will most likely, it would have to be very reliable if people continue to use. So I'm pretty certain that they've done a tremendous job in testing it, and I think that the losers are going to be like third-party apps like PayPal and Venmo and Zelle. That's what I think.
I think I think in that respect we'll agree. But before we switch topics, actually, you didn't give me your answer. You
Okay.
would choose which one would you choose? The same question you asked me.
Well, I would I mean, if it was a perfect world, then
Well, I don't know. I don't know how you define perfect world.
yeah. Well, meaning
Like
both.
meaning no theft,
Well,
that
mean
type
no,
of
no,
stuff.
no, 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 no. Meaning like both were utilized.
Equally.
Like
Okay. All right.
yeah, like for example, like uh, people didn't really care whether they got USD or whether they got Ripple, XRP, or
Right.
Bitcoin. I rather have my money by my side, and I know where it is, and I know nobody's gonna restrict me. So just by that sense of, sorry, we have to restrict you, I would choose cryptocurrency. That's the only reason.
That's
So
fair. That's fair. I
yeah.
agree. I agree. All right. Okay. Let's move on to the next subject. Okay. So the next thing is, the next topic is, so it's Threads, the new social media app, which is basically a copy of Twitter. If you haven't seen Twitter, it looks exactly like Twitter. If you see it, you'll see both. So right now, after surpassing 100 million user signups in less than a week, user engagement on Threads has slowed. Threads daily active users fell from 49 million on July 7th, 2 days after its launch, to 23.6 million users last Friday. And basically, according to this certain app called Similar Web, they're able to track usage. So the app's average usage time also fell from 21 minutes to 6 minutes over the same time frame.
All
So
right.
people are using it more, people are on it less. Um, my question to you is: do you think that this is doom and gloom for the app, or do you think that this is just the regular growing pains of any new app?
I mean, I think the reason why they're struggling with it is because Twitter exists. Like, they cloned it, and they got a big surge when it initially came out, and it was popular, right? Everything that's popular initially, it kind of has like a huge parabolic growth, and then a quick drawback. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with like new stocks. If a new stock came out and it became really popular, the price would skyrocket, and then maybe like in a week or so, it would die down. Now, it doesn't really mean that Threads is dead or anything like that. I just feel like it's not unique enough. And when people actually see that it's not, then they're like, wait a second, why am I using this? Why am I not using Twitter? So I almost feel like, Meta has to do a better job of advertising it, and or enabling features that Twitter doesn't have, right? And they want more engagement from users. They have to give them something different. That's what I think.
But well, the
And
thing is, I mean, at this point, I've heard from quite a few people who have tried using um,
birds.
Threads, and the one thing that they said is not only doesn't not have anything new, it doesn't have a lot of the things that Twitter has.
Mhm.
And the thing is, Threads said that they will be rolling them out eventually, but at this point, it's missing a bunch of stuff as well. Um,
Well, it's
and
not
there's
good.
nothing new about it. But again, but in all honesty,
Yeah.
this is sort of what Meta has done. You know, like it basically comes up with the same product that's out there, and it uses their current base to try to grow it. So I
Right.
mean, the 100 million people that they got originally was from Instagram. It's not like people were like 100 million people decided just to go to Threads.com or something. They actually, you know what I mean? But that's a major reason why they got so many people up front. The problem is that, and I think while Meta has a lot of going for it in terms of using Instagram and Facebook to build threads. The problem that they have is the same issue that anyone who's ever tried to go against uh, Twitter before, which there has been a lot of other smaller ones that have tried, and they've always failed for the same reason. And that is there's a lot of established people there that have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of followers.
Right. Right.
You have to tell them, hey, by the way, go to this new website, where you're going to start from scratch, where you have to build up your base, and maybe like somebody very popular like LeBron James, it can do it relatively quickly, but most can't. So most will have to go to a place where now they have to tweet on Twitter something and then come up with something else for threads because they don't want to lose that old account.
Well, another issue with what you're saying is, let's say you have like a million plus followers, right? And then like you tell them to go on threads, like what the fuck? Like it's redundant, right? You don't want to, like you said, post the same thing on Twitter and then post it on threads and have the same follower count, right?
Right.
So you almost have to have some type of new influencer that will doesn't necessarily have to be new, but someone that will leave Twitter and will go onto Threads, and you try to build around that particular person. Maybe that's what they should do. You know?
Um, maybe, but I I feel like that um, there's a thing about Twitter that like some of the people who want to go to Threads or are going to Threads are talking about like, oh well, Twitter since Elon Musk took over, there's a lot more hate on it. There's a lot more quote unquote freedom of speech, but it's more kind of like geared towards the things that we don't like. So meaning if you're left leaning, you might not like, but there's a lot more right leaning people there now because some of them were removed before, now they came back, and so on. So like there's some people that want to go now to threads. The only issue is that one of the biggest reasons why Twitter is really big, one of the biggest reasons why most social media is really big is because it actually like started off with no rules. Like the way that YouTube started, you could post whatever video you want of
Yeah.
anybody killing anybody, doing whatever thing.
Well, that's the way. Wait. I don't think they should be posting
No, 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 no,
people
no.
getting
No,
killed.
no, no. Hold on. You're missing the point. That's not what I mean. I'm saying they all started like the Wild West. The reason why YouTube became big was because you could post anything, you could watch whatever things on it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
get that.
Twitter started off the same way. Every social media group out there Instagram started with post whatever pictures you want, and very quickly they're like, okay, not very quickly, but eventually they got to a point where like, okay, we need to make sure that we don't put like beheadings. Okay, make sure we don't put this kind of stuff. Make
Yeah.
sure with that. Right. The problem is that they started going really far in that direction where they're like, okay, well, now what about you saying this word? Well, we don't like this word. Well, you now talking about this topic. We don't like this topic. It's not a
Yeah.
topic we should talk about. And that's where it's like you got less engagement because people are like, wait a second, I can't talk about this? No, no, you can't talk about this. Or I can't use this word? No, you can't use this word. And people lost engagement. So
Right.
I don't know how a place where like threads will go like, hey, on our website, it's going to be safer and it's going to be more like nicer people and all that kind of stuff. At the same time, what the reason why people love Twitter so much and hate it at the same time is because it's a conflict, it's a debate. You go there, somebody shit talks you, you should talk them back.
Yeah.
And it feels like Threads is going to be like, hey, we just everybody come on, get along, and everything's going to be good. I don't know if
Well,
that's going to be like a wildfire like Twitter was
well,
when it
I
was.
mean, like, can you really have everything positive all the time? You know what I mean? It's like, like on Threads, it's gonna be like, I love you, I like you, I like you,
Well,
everything is good.
to be fair, I don't think they like they necessarily want that. I think it's more they want it to be safe place for certain kind of thoughts.
Also,
The
it's a safe place to hate on the opposition, which pretty
basically
much it's
because
pretty
the
much the
thing is
same thing on Twitter. It's the same thing on Twitter. It's just like, oh, we're okay with that type of hate. Oh, we're not okay with this type of hate, kind of thing.
I'm
Right.
not exactly sure what you mean by that last part.
Well,
What do
I
you
mean,
mean?
you
Like,
can't.
can you give an example of what you're talking about?
What I'm saying is that like on Threads, you won't be able to say I
No, no.
hate
On
quote unquote these people.
on Threads, I got it, but I wasn't sure what you meant by on Twitter that you can't say certain things, but you can't
No,
say other things. What do you mean?
I'm saying on Threads, like it's okay for them to hate against Republicans, right?
Sure.
Or people of that nature, right? The
Right.
rednecks, blah blah blah.
Right.
But it's not okay to go on threads and hate against, the liberals. That's what I'm pretty much just trying to say.
Oh, okay. No, because
Yeah,
you said Twitter. I think you accidentally said Twitter. That's why.
yeah, yeah. I meant threads. I meant
Okay. Okay. I wasn't sure about that. Okay. All
yeah,
right.
yeah,
That
yeah.
makes sense.
So
Okay.
I mean, look, if it's hate, then you should allow all hate. If you don't, if you disagree with people hating against each other, then you should disallow all hate. But the thing is that if you actually disallow all hate, then I think that threads will not exist because people
No.
are
No.
always
No. No.
hating on something. People are always hating on something. There's always haters. They're gonna hate, and it's always gonna be like that. And if you don't allow for them to have a platform, man, it's not gonna. It's threads are going to zero.
Well, remember, it's not. I'm not necessarily like saying that pro hate website is what's needed. All I'm saying is that you have to be able to have a discussion, even with people that are hateful, even if with when somebody's saying something you
Uh,
completely disagree with, somebody who's saying things that you're like, oh, this is stupid. This like you have to be able to have a conversation with them. And it seems like on Twitter now, it's sort of going back to what it was a little bit originally, where you're able to shit talk each other if need be, or agree with stuff or disagree with stuff, and basically
yeah,
that would happen.
but, but hate is gonna hate.
Sure, but not everyone is a hater. My point is that
That's true.
like, and by the way, hate is a perspective, right? So meaning it, like if somebody in North Korea says Kim Jong Un starves his people, well, there that's hate. You say the same thing here, that's righteousness. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So
Right.
it's a
That's
perspective that I think we should consider when we're talking about hate. But
right.
but
But
again,
can really two opponents really have a constructive conversation without it's not like they're gonna come to a conclusion anyway. So I mean, they're gonna think the way they think. One.
oh, I would never make the argument that Twitter is a place for constructive conversations. Well, they do have them from time to time. That's like social media in general, I would say, is not very constructive. Like,
But even in person, think about the reason why I think online people can't have constructive conversations because I think in person they're not able to either. You know what I mean? So I think it's the same online as it is outside as well. In reality, I think that we face a division of mental capacity to understand really what's going on. You know what I mean? There's always going to be different perspectives on different topics, and I don't see how people can see eye to eye. You know what I mean?
well, I mean, I want to say it always existed. The only thing
Yeah.
before was you were killed for having
Yeah,
those.
exactly.
Meaning, but the further back you go, there was only one opinion, and if you didn't agree, then we bury you, kill you, burn you, whatever it is, so
Exactly.
that everybody understands that there really is only one opinion.
Yeah.
And now, like, while people argue that there should really be only one opinion when it comes to this topic or that topic or this topic, it's much better to have many wrong opinions and one correct opinion than having only one opinion and the rest have to be
Well,
like
let me
never heard. You know?
let me ask you. Let me ask you this question in regards to that. Do you think if we would divide the country into blue versus red states, everyone who's red would go to the red states, and everyone who's blue would go to the blue states? Do you think that you can have a nation that is literally divided into half? Like maybe you have two presidents instead of one?
No, I don't.
What would
I
happen? What
even,
would happen?
yeah, no. I think they would just divide. If that was really the case, if there were like two presidents, they at a certain point would just go like, you know what, we're not going to see eye to eye. The people in my country, like let's say the right leaning side, they believe this and they want this. Your guys want this and that. We're not going to see eye to eye. Let's just kind of like separate and just be separate countries. What's the point of staying together if there's two
Right.
separate presidents?
Well, let me ask you, would you want to live on one side or another and just that's it, just call it quits and just say, listen, we're we're two nations under God, divided we stand, right? You
Okay,
know,
you're. Uh, I
would you
personally
want to
no.
be would you want to
No.
live? No, you wouldn't. You rather live
No.
in one nation that is divided as it can be right now
Yes,
and have
because
these fights.
like I'm not right, but the thing is, okay. So for one, I think that I agree with certain things that the right says, and I agree with certain things that the left says, and I disagree with certain things that the right says, and I disagree with certain things the left says.
I
I
agree.
think that they like I think putting both of them together and actually coming up with the best things for the country are the best solutions. Because I don't think one party has all the solutions and they're all awesome because we know that that's not true. So I do believe that we want both. And the truth is, if the countries ever do happen, let's say that scenario that you just came up with does happen. What actually happens, in my opinion, is this: when the right, let's say, splits, they'll actually create parties within the right, and then you'll have like they'll actually create a left-leaning right, a right-leaning right,
So it'll be
and
like
the
a
same
ring.
and
So
the same thing, by the way, and the same thing, the left-leaning country will do the same thing as well. They'll create
so
a right-leaning people.
so it'll be a rainbow spectrum. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I don't. No, I don't know what right. No, no. I I do believe that they're just like meaning they'll naturally create. There's going to be people who are like, so for example, the older people on the left will go like, "Hey, we care more about our taxes, or we care more about the future kids, or whatever." And
Right.
then you'll have the younger people who go like, "Well, we care more about the foundation. We care more about growth of the country. We care." Do you know what I mean? They'll create their own parties, and those parties will like eventually split the same way. Because I mean,
Right.
the
Right.
left and the right are natural progression of just people. But don't get me
No,
wrong, there
no,
should
that.
be way more parties for there to be actual choice instead of just one, like binary choices. But it is
Oh
what it
man,
is.
wait a second. I don't think binary exists anymore. So.
Okay, fine. It doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, but the thing going back to threads is that if it actually is going to be like a hub, for the Democrats, and now I know why the Democrats are called the blue, or the blue states. That kind of makes sense. They're in the blue. But
Oh,
right, it makes sense now.
okay, okay.
Um, but if that's actually the case, then like I said before, I think threads can survive. But going up against Twitter, I mean, I think Twitter would have to really mess up. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say. With their base of customers, users, they would have to really mess up for people to flee and go to threads and make them, bigger.
Yeah.
Uh, even like as you said right now, the current activity of users on threads, it has fallen, to around 50% of what it was, and that's not good for them.
Right. There's
So,
nothing to do.
yeah.
There's nothing to do there yet,
So
and if there ever will be.
like I said before, like I think at least I was bullish initially, but in the long term, I was kind of like, I don't know if they can actually achieve what Twitter has achieved. But yet again, it's still early, and I
Yeah,
think
it's
they,
it's it's way too early. It's way too
yeah,
early
yeah, and
to
I
say
think,
like it's gonna die or it's not gonna die.
yeah, yeah. No, I don't think. Listen, I don't think it's gonna die just because Meta has a lot of money, and they can come up with creative ways to increase, their user base, to increase their
And
active users, right? So,
right, and they'll have millions of viewers, even though it never might be as big. Maybe might never be as big as Twitter. It still might be something that will make like generate money for them. It just not might be the same way as like Twitter does.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
but at the same time, I mean, like just to point out just one example. Um, if people remember, there's Trump created or partnered with people who created the Truth Network, right? Right, his Twitter version of social
That
media.
is that a thing?
Oh, Okay, see, that's kind of my point. Yeah. So Trump, with his pull and with his notoriety, he
Yeah,
created something, and it's like it still exists. It still makes money. It just isn't nowhere near as big as Twitter is, and it never really is going to be that. Um, and he obviously has a contract with them or some kind of, because he never went to Twitter afterwards, uh, even though he was approved to use it again. So
that's
even
interesting.
with all of this, he's like that couldn't do well.
I
Don't
actually
get me
thought
wrong, Meta
I,
is in a much better
I
position
actually
than Trump.
thought that that was false news, but I guess it became real.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is a while ago. I mean, I think it started running like maybe a year ago now, maybe longer.
Okay.
And he's been every time he tweets or sends a message out, whatever you want to call it, or truth message or whatever it is, he does it on his network, on his platform.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Mhm.
Is it free?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the same as like Twitter, just truth. They're
Wow.
not lying.
That's what actually would be interesting, and that is to cut down on people, tweeting just a bunch of bullshit nonsense. You know what I mean? Is that
What?
every tweet that somebody tweets, right? If people find it like let's say majority, right? If majority of the people say that this particular tweet is bullshit, that it's stupid, that they don't agree with it, like don't tweet this crap, then that tweeter has to pay money. You know what I mean? So let's say, no, let's say some idiot, tweeted something like, Trump has 100 babies underneath, his, you know, 20-story, like
I get
whatever.
it.
You know what I mean?
I get where you're getting. I get where you're going with it. But that literally, if you're going like, hey, how do I kill Twitter really quickly? That's the way to do it. You understand that like the vast majority of people who are tweeting, like
No, it's not only.
look at any story,
Yeah.
look at any story, look at anyone tweeting anything, you'll see the vast majority of comments are just nonsense bullshit. They
Right.
really are.
So then
So
those people, no, no, I'm not necessarily saying Twitter. I'm just saying generally social media. If somebody tweets something utterly retarded, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Then
no,
you
it
don't think
doesn't
that's a good
work
idea.
because
So you want
no, no, no,
retards?
no.
You want
It literally
retards on the internet?
it literally it literally will stop them from making billions of dollars because you have so many people who
Right.
are actually doing that. That's one. But the other thing is, who do you trust to do that?
Well,
Who do you
Trump
trust
can
to be
make
the what?
listen, Trump can make them rich.
Right? No, no, true. But all I'm saying is, who do you trust to look at something and go like, oh,
Well, no, it's regular.
this is retarded.
No, it's
This is the
just
level of
regular
retardation.
people. No, no, regular people
Right.
who actually see
The,
it.
the problem is regular people have biases, right? So
Sure.
the problem is that like you'll have somebody going like, hey, Trump is amazing, or Trump is the worst person, or Trump is the devil, or whatever the case is, and somebody goes like, oh, I agree with this guy, so
So,
he gets a pass, but this person
so,
doesn't.
so since we're talking about Trump, what happened to the trial?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not following it that closely.
exactly,
If that's what you're asking me.
exactly.
Wait,
neither,
what is that?
neither,
Wait. I'm so confused. What?
neither are
How
the
do we jump
court.
from that to that?
No, no,
What?
I just because I think he's gonna run again, and there's
Well,
a
he's running. What do you mean? He's running.
well,
He's just
meaning
the
like
question is, will they stop him from running?
that's what I'm pretty much saying that he's not gonna be stopped from running, and there's a good chance that he might win. Okay, so back to Threads. How does this affect Threads? 50% down active users, and will it come back?
Well, I don't know if we'll come back to the first thought that it's going to be like at 100 million users active. That I don't believe that. Like, I don't think that they ever thought that that would be the case. That's too many people all at the same time using, like, unless it somehow spreads everywhere else. But I don't know how many people are using it outside of US even. I'm not sure if they're like how hard they're pushing it out there. And I'm not even sure. To be honest, with you, I'm not even sure how much of a threat it is outside of like like here we have certain things that we talk about when it comes to Twitter, but I don't know how that's viewed in other countries. Though, meaning, do they have a
Yeah, but
hatred with Twitter the same way as America has like a
your
semi hatred with Twitter?
your opinion, does it come back as far as to compete with Twitter? Yes, no.
I think so. I think so. I think,
Okay.
but in the long run, not in the short
Yeah, I agree with the same.
run.
So let's move on to the last topic, and that is a very interesting one where there's a new theme park that's going to be built in Oklahoma that has a budget of $2 billion. It's a theme park called American Heartland Theme Park and Resort, and it's going to be on 1,000 acres, and supposedly it's going to be finished by 2026. What do you think about this, Al? How does this affect other theme parks, in your opinion?
I feel like this is the answer to kind of like all the people who have an issue with Disney, have an issue that it's a kind of going in the direction that people on the right don't agree with, and because of that, I feel like this is the answer. Whoever's doing this, it seems like doing it in Oklahoma, which isn't the busiest place in the world.
That we
They
know of.
know that
Wait,
people.
wait.
What?
That we know of. It might have a lot of cows. Might be busy.
Sure, 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 sure. You never know which customer is going to be there. But I just feel like this is kind of like, hey, by the way, if you're on the right and you're looking for some wholesome fun for your children, this is going to be the resort. You don't have to trust this, Disney thing, whatever that they're doing right now, where it's like, gay flowers and gay flags and everything like that. They're like, hey, we're going to give you,
Buy one,
you
get
know,
one free, and
and again, I
but
might be absolutely wrong with thinking. I just want to preface this. I might be absolutely wrong. They haven't clarified this, but if you're making a place in Oklahoma and you're spending $2 billion to create a resort, a theme park, you're not doing it because you're thinking of like getting the most amount of people. I think you're getting a certain type of people, and
you
I
might
think
be
it's done
right.
on purpose.
Well, I mean, it's called American Heartland, right? Theme park. Uh,
Yeah, that kind of gives it away. Yeah, for
I
sure.
think it kind of gives it away.
Yeah.
But the question is, will people from Florida flock to Oklahoma? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
If
really do
uh,
think so?
I think
Or
again,
maybe they're trying. Maybe they're
it
trying
depends.
to draw.
It
Sorry,
depends. What
I'm saying maybe they're trying to draw more Cubans to that state.
it could. I don't care. They they want to make as much more money as possible, and they know that people are moving away from Disney right now. You have basically half the country going like, "Hey, we don't support your ideas." So having an answer for them, it's a smart business move. It really is. I do believe people, but again, you have to understand. You have to like they can't come out of this with like, oh, we have some shitty slow rides and just come here. Yeah, it looks like a little theme park or whatever, but in 20 years from now, we'll be no. If they come out and they have awesome rides and they have a lot of activities going on,
Right.
they could really, really, really hurt Disney and potentially other theme parks as well, because I think there will be people that will like basically go on vacation. Especially, it's a in it like to go to Oklahoma for vacation. It's a relatively inexpensive vacation. Like no one
That's
goes
what
like,
I'm
man,
saying.
I'm splurging by going to Oklahoma.
What if they're
You know
charging by pigs? How about that? How many pigs?
what? Bring two pigs for
Yeah.
two rides or something.
Hey, you never know. Maybe 2 pigs for an entry, and then
Maybe I don't know. That might be the case. I mean,
and we don't know how much pigs are worth right now. You know what I mean?
I would imagine quite a bit still.
Right. Exactly. Inflation is messed up even for the animals.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Okay, let's say you you're making a decision. Okay, so you can go to Florida,
Right.
and let's say for argument's sake, you are the same distance away from Oklahoma as you are from Florida. Okay, you're in between. You live in between those areas. Okay,
Yeah.
You can either go to and take your family, take your kids and stuff like that, take them to Disneyland, where
Well, it's
you're
expensive.
right. You're gonna pay more for the flight just because you're going to Florida. That
Right, right.
is what it is. You're going to pay more for the stay there, and then you're gonna obviously pay way more for the tickets for Disneyland.
Right.
Versus
Sure.
if you could go to Oklahoma, pay less for the ticket, pay way less for any hotels that you would get there,
Yeah.
and pay less for the tickets.
And wait a second. And cornholing, I'm assuming.
Cornhole.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the
Corn
game?
cornholing.
Oh yeah,
I'm
okay,
assuming.
okay, okay, okay. I've heard of it, but I've never actually seen it.
Me neither. I'm just joking about.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm like, but yeah. So where do you go
I mean, I've
with
never
your
been
family?
to. I mean, I've never been to Oklahoma, and because of that, I probably will go there. But if you asked me if I haven't been to either, then obviously I'm gonna go to a theme park and to a location that's less expensive. I don't think I would be able to afford necessarily to go to um, Disneyland in Florida. I think it would
Yeah,
be too much money, honestly.
I can. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think a lot of people are having the same issues that like to go to Disneyland nowadays. It's not like as before where you could like. I remember before for like $100 you could get a yearly pass. This is like obviously talking about 25 years ago or something like that. But
Mm.
now it's like it's so expensive, and like if you're taking like let's say if you have 3 or 4 people in your family or more, you're talking about thousands of dollars, not including flight and not including uh, like a hotel. It's just like you're just talking about tickets to come in. It's
Yeah.
really insane at this
Right.
point.
Yeah,
And
I never understood people staying at the Disneyland resort itself, right? In the hotel and all that, because it was so expensive. Like I would stay at a cheaper hotel and then go to Disneyland. I mean, at least save money somewhere. But no, people would go all out. They would, they buy the yearly pass. They eat food at Disneyland instead of like McDonald's or something like that. And that, I mean, they would spend like a lot of money on that. You know, so
right, right. No, I mean I agree with you. And the thing is, I just if there's a good alternative, and again, I don't expect what was it called? America what was the place called?
it's called American Heartland Theme Park and Resort.
Yeah, I'm expecting that place not to be as good as Disney. It's just Disney has put in a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot
Time,
of what?
experience, years. I mean,
Yeah,
experience.
yeah, experience, years, and
Yeah,
remember,
yeah.
like they really do go by a theme, meaning they do like the Disney ride. They like meaning they do the Mickey Mouse thing. They do whatever they have that is very popular. That's what they make a ride out of, and like whatever characters they have.
Hey,
And
we can't all have Mercedes. So, it's the same thing.
right, true, exactly. And so I mean, I feel like that this place is actually going to be potentially, basically it has potential. Whether it will be better than Disney, that's up to them to decide. But two
No.
billion dollars in Oklahoma goes a long way. I think much further than it would in Florida. In
Oh, yeah.
Florida, you're probably looking at like maybe 2 acres. Here, you're probably looking. So
Well, see, here's the thing. This is the way I look at it. Anyone living around the area where they're going to be building this theme park is going to benefit tremendously, right? So, this could be a good opportunity to buy property around there if it's not already becoming more expensive. I think that's a golden opportunity. I think that Disneyland is actually going to lose money, so I'm kind of bearish on them for that particular reason. Oklahoma is definitely going to start making more money than they did before. It draws more attention to them. Maybe they start, doing other projects. You never know, right? Maybe
Yeah.
Oklahoma, becomes the next Florida. I mean, you don't know these things.
I do.
I'm
I
saying,
definitely. Okay. Okay. Hold on. I think you just went too far with that statement. Oklahoma is definitely not becoming the next
no, no,
Florida.
wait. I
There's
don't mean
no
that.
way. Like
I don't mean
Florida
that.
has like beaches on both sides
Okay.
throughout the whole entire
Yeah, but
state.
the, e-
No.
even
No.
though it has beaches, it has tornadoes, it has hurricanes,
Well,
and
I'm sorry. Do you think Oklahoma is just like a beautiful non-touch place? Come on.
hey,
Like
the
it has
virgin.
its problems
It's a
as well.
virgin of a
But
place.
again,
Yes, yes,
there's
tornadoes.
no
Yeah.
way. There's no way Oklahoma is ever
Sweet
becoming the next
home
Florida.
Oklahoma.
Well, yeah, exactly. They're gonna be singing all that stuff. And by the way, I don't know if I agree with you. I think that not everyone is gonna be very happy. Like maybe like financially, their prices, their houses will go up. But I don't think there's a lot of people who live in Oklahoma. I think that kind of like like being able to like be in rural areas and having their space. And then all of a sudden, they're gonna be seeing a lot of people driving through the
Wait,
areas. And
they might finally have a dental office there. Come on, come on.
all right, okay, so this place is opening up a dentist office right next to the rides.
Exactly.
So all right, guys. Well, I think that's it for today. Thank you guys for joining us, and we hope to see you next week. And if you guys could like and do all the other fun stuff, we'd appreciate it. Take care, guys.